number 15.
Wow.
Wow, isn't
Time
that great?
is flying by.
It sure does. We're having a really good time. Hoping you all are enjoying it too. And
Exactly.
we got an exciting podcast for you today talking about different muscle groups and how to split up your routine.
Yeah.
As
Just
well.
did a coaching call on Facebook Live with in the members community, so that it was kind of good information. So I decided, maybe we'll just talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, that, and we'll talk more about mindset, and that's kind of our theme today: push and pull, right?
Right.
Because it relates to exercise as well as the mindset, because you're either pushing yourself towards your goals or you're sabotaging, and either pulling yourself towards your goals or sabotaging and pushing away. So we thought this is a good topic for both mind and body, then, right? And there goes Tiger. You know, he says to put his 2 cents in. All right. Excuse me. So, something I saw that, sometimes people have trouble with how to split up their routine. Now, if you're working out like 3 days a week, you should do full body all 3 days, more or less. So it's when you go to 4 days or more is when you have to really start splitting it up. Now, in our All Body Fitness community, we have 15-minute workouts, and we split them up for the members. Yeah. So today's workout, they may be doing, what's today? Tuesday. They'll do an upper body, right? And tomorrow they'll do some lower body. So we split it up for them. So that helps a lot. But if you're doing exercise on your own, a lot of you are, then you need to know not to split it up in a way that's going to produce worse results by giving you an injury or overworking a muscle. Because recovery is important, right? So when you split up your routine, if you can do 4 days or more, it depends on how many days you're splitting up. Now, if it's just 4 days, you could do upper body 2 days and lower body 2 days and split up that way. But if, some people are working out 5, 6, 7 days a week. Right? Now, we don't recommend doing 7 days necessarily, because you need to have a day of recovery, or a really light day at least, right? With just some cardio and stretching.
Even God rests on 7 days.
Exactly, right? Yeah, who knows how long that day was, though.
Could have been 1,000 years.
Yeah, maybe it was a big, long vacation. But anyway, so when you split up the routine, if you're doing that, one way to do it is to think of push and pull muscles for the upper body, right? So everybody knows what a leg day is, and what an upper body is, but they tend to, I've seen at the gym, and I've seen some of my clients and that kind of thing, get confused about how to split up the upper body. Okay, so if they think about it as push and pull, that helps to me. So if you're listening to this, you'll have to visualize some of these exercises, or email us at info@allbodiesfitness if you want some clarifications. But a push exercise.
Or actually, this podcast is being videoed, so it'll probably be on our YouTube channel.
That's true. Go to the All Bodies Fitness YouTube channel.
You can look on the YouTube channel for the All Bodies Fitness.
Yep.
And you'll see that whatever she's going to be, I guess she's going to be demonstrating here.
Well, I'm not going to do the whole exercise, but I can demonstrate a little bit. Okay. All right, so push exercise, if you think push-up, right? You're pushing your body away from the floor or the wall or the bench or wherever you're at with your push-up, right? Or if you're doing, a bench press, you're pushing those weights up, right? If you're doing a chest press, you're pushing the weights up with dumbbells. If you're doing a fly, you're pushing the weights, right? You're pushing away, right? So you're fighting gravity. And then, so that's the chest, the pec muscles, or push muscles, okay? Now, if you're doing shoulders, now there's 3 heads to shoulders, so it can be a little confusing, but 2 of the heads work together most of the time is the front and the lateral, the front and the side, right? So things like a shoulder press, traditionally, is a push-up, right? It's a push away. So that's a push exercise, too, so that can be worked with the chest as well. Because when you're doing a bench press or a push-up, actually, you probably are using some shoulders, as well as some triceps. That's the third muscle group I want to talk about, is your arms, right? There's a front and a back of your arms, and the back of your arms, your triceps, back here, right, the back of your arm. If you pat yourself on the back, the part that you can touch, right? So if you can visualize that, your triceps, that's the muscle that pushes too. So if you think of snapping a football, you're using your tricep a lot too, right? Or throwing a ball, or throwing a punch, you're using your triceps, the back of the arms. And when you're doing a push-up, right, you're using your triceps or a bench press as well. So chest or pecs, shoulders, front and lateral head, and back of the arm tricep all kind of work together in most push exercises. So those are the ones you want to do on a push day if you're splitting up your upper body, right? Now you got to think of your non-mirror muscles, your back muscles, right? Which is a little confusing to a lot of people, and it was to me until I became a personal trainer, because the biceps you see in the mirror, the upper back and the biceps work together as well as the rear delts and the traps. So that's your pull muscles, okay? So, doing rowing, any kind of one arm row, two arm rows, those row machines, right? There's all kinds of rows that you could do for those muscles, as well as pull ups and assisted pull ups, and that kind of thing. Plus, like I said, shrugs for the traps and any bicep work, bicep curl, okay? There's a lot of different bicep muscle exercises that people do, and I like working my biceps too because I like having some strength there. So that's the pull muscles.
Well, we had some technical difficulties. I don't know if the video is actually going to be recording everything. But
oh no!
If not, that's okay. Still have the audio.
Okay, all right.
And if you do have questions and you are not able to see the visual representative form of what she's talking about,
just email us.
Email us. We'll have to give you some clarification. But
yeah, exactly. So that's a good way of doing it. Now, there's one exercise that works both the front and the back, which is the one exercise I learned in personal training school that does that, is a pull over, right? Which is a unusual exercise. And if you don't know what it is, then it doesn't really matter. You won't do it. But if you know what it is, that one you can't do if you're going to split up the upper back and the front of your body, your chest and pecs, right? Because it's a pullover. And what that looks like, say I was laying on a bench right now, and you're holding one dumbbell, maybe a heavy one, whatever, and you extend your arms out there and then pull it over towards your head, right? And then back, right? So that's a pullover, and that one works both the front and the back, which is the only exercise I know of that does that. So that's kind of where, I wanted to talk about as far as the exercises, the push and the pull, and how to split that up, so that'll help you guys. Now we want to talk about push and pull for your goals, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it does relate, because if you think about it, you're always making progress. You're pulling yourself towards your goals, right? Or you're pushing your goals away by maybe either self-sabotage or just, making stressful, emotional choices in the moment. Don't you think a lot of that is? I mean, we've done podcasts about stress eating, which is emotional eating. And that continues to be an issue for me, and I know for a lot of folks. And, just in goals in general, too, that when you get too emotional, sometimes you allow yourself to stray away from making progress towards your goals. Mm-hmm. Instead of staying the course and keep working towards them. I think that happens to all of us. We go and get a little derailed because of emotional issues and that kind of thing. And then, we have to figure out how to get back on track and how not to let it completely derail us.
Right.
Yeah. So I know you were talking about that earlier too, as far as, self-forgiveness and recovery for yourself. Just like you have to recover for your muscles, and that's why you split up your routine. You have to allow yourself to recover and kind of, let go of our past mistakes, even if it was 5 minutes ago or yesterday, eating a binge food, a cheat day, whatever. And of course, it's not a bad idea to have a cheat day every now and then, but it really depends on what your goals are and if it's scheduled. That's the big key right there, if it's a scheduled thing, right?
Yeah, it's difficult to schedule circumstances that kind of try to set you back or derail you from your. Yeah, actually, who really schedules that? I mean, unless,
I'm going to schedule some problems for next Tuesday.
Well, I guess in a way, though, in our own mindset, we probably do that to ourselves. I mean, there is such a thing as self-sabotage, and there is such thing as, limiting beliefs, or that we, that there's something to be said about, if you think you can do a thing and you think you can't, you're right. So
I love that. Yeah.
If you have. So maybe in a way, sometimes maybe we are scheduling our own setbacks, by entertaining different kinds of thoughts or patterns of thought that take us down a path that's away from what our why is or what our goal is, and so
Yeah, we should talk more about that. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk more about that.
All right, sounds good. Means that for me, I guess maybe it is the same for you, is that it's something that you set as a vision that becomes more important to you than almost life itself, breath itself. It's or just as important as. I mean, it's a why is something that gives you a reason to get up in the morning.
Your mission statement.
Yeah, why gives you a reason to keep going when everything else is falling apart around you, or a why is something that keeps driving you forward even when circumstances and situations are trying to push you backwards.
Yeah, when life is kind of feels like, I think of it as like climbing a mountain, right. And it feels like sometimes that you're halfway up the mountain or quarter way, whatever you think you are, and it feels like life is like got your ankle. You can't go any higher, and then you start to slip down,
Yeah.
And that why is the only thing that'll make you fight, whether it's an internal struggle to fight, to keep going, and to just do your exercise that day, to eat healthy, to make the good choice, or if it's, a physical obstacle that you have to get over, right. Because depending on what your goal is, right? So.
And I kind of think that sometimes a why sometimes needs to be bigger than myself a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So and the reason being for me, one of the reasons that I think that is because when I get into a bad funk, or I'm in a place where my thinking is struggling to get in line with, I mean, we all go through these. I mean, why am I doing this? What's my purpose? What's going on?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's. I mean, I may be the only one on the planet that goes through that.
No,
but,
of course not.
I think that a lot of people, ask those kind of questions, and sometimes it's partly because we're not asking ourselves the right questions, and instead of why is this, and instead of how can I do this, or how can I do that. But three things that can help to refocus and get you back on the path, really easy, is being generous, being grateful, and being of service. So let's see, should I? Well, let's say you come across somebody in need, and you have an opportunity to share something with them. Maybe you're not in a great place. Maybe you're not in a great place financially, or maybe you're not in a great place emotionally. But the act of giving and being generous is opening up the doorway for you to be able to see a more clear path for your why.
That's true. Yeah.
For service, go out and help somebody else out. You're in a bad place. You can't seem to get yourself on the right track. Go help somebody else get on the right track.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Give
your time, if not necessarily money, but giving of your time is so important.
Yeah.
To somebody else.
And then gratitude. The other thing is sit back, take some time, be reflective of some things that you could appreciate about what's going on with your life. What has happened in your life. Look at the struggles and the problems that you've already been through and overcome, and realize that, hey, there is a higher purpose, and there is a way for me to move forward, because I've been through deeper struggles before, and I've been able to get through them. So I think those three things will be very helpful.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point, because what drives us often is push and pull. To me, one of my big drivers is my family. I want to be as healthy as possible so I can be there for them, and I can't be as good for other people, my clients and my physical family, my relatives, if I'm not healthy and I don't take care of myself. So that pushes me to go run when it's, already 80 degrees out at 8 o'clock in the morning, or to do my exercise and to go ahead and, at the end of the day, still make sure I get at least that 15 minutes in or whatever, even though I never got around to it that day and I'm tired and I just want to go to bed. Mm-hmm. It pushes me to do that because I know that, the momentum has to be there to keep carrying me forward. And all I have to do is push myself to think of somebody else, because most people will do things for other people that they won't do for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's most people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if your why is to be better, if something is, important as your family, that's simple, but it's important. Your work, your pets, if you're not healthy, you can't take care of them.
Yeah.
So, I think, a lot of parents that I've seen over the years quit smoking when their child's born. And that's a perfectly good reason, because it's like, now I know I need to get healthy because I have somebody that's counting on me, and also I don't want to spread that smoke out into their environment, right? Mm-hmm. Which I wish everybody would think of when they smoke, that they're polluting the whole planet, not just themselves. But anyway, that's a good impetus to make you change something that's hard to do. We both smoked in the past, and we knew it's hard to give up. It's not easy. But it gives you a reason. It's like if you're doing it for somebody besides yourself, So to me, anytime I feel a little down or struggling with, working out, eating better, making a better choice, I have to just think about, my family and my clients. And that's why I have to do it, And, having this business all by fitness gives me that reason too, because I have to, help the people that are counting on me, counting on us both, right? So we have to be strong too. We have to push past the difficulties,
right?
And we have to find a way. And if your vision and your why, your mission is strong enough, you'll find a way, right?
Yeah.
We struggle with lots of things, but we find a way because we have to.
Yeah.
We want to help more people.
So, yeah, exactly.
So, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it does take the focus off yourself, and and gives you a higher purpose. That's what I was saying. Sometimes it's better, instead of like, maybe your why is not strong enough.
Yeah,
because your why may be only as strong as you are, and we're all full of weaknesses and faults. But if we think of the strength of our community, the strength of of what it does when you go out and you help somebody else get their goals done.
Yeah, maybe you have a neighbor that is a little bit older and doesn't get around as well.
Right.
If you can help that person, go spend some time, go for a walk with them, because they may feel unstable and they don't want to go for a walk by themselves. They don't feel safe, and they don't feel, like they might fall, whatever. Take them for a walk with you. You're doing it for them, and you're making them better, and you're making yourself better, and you're making yourself feel better. And it's, it grows.
Quite honestly, it could be as simple as directing your thoughts that way. Sending out, generosity, kindness, love, blessings, and unconditional love as a thought, as your thought radiates out towards the thinking towards others and their circumstances or situations. Even if you can't physically go and be present with them, you're reaching outside yourself.
Yeah. You've heard about those experiments with the plants? I was just thinking about what a friend of mine told me, and I don't know all the details, but they did experiments with plants, and how they had the researchers, the experimenters, whatever, go direct really beautiful, loving, growing thoughts of plants, or very negative thoughts of plants. And the plants that had the love, if you want to just generalize it as that, sent towards them grew, and the ones that had the negative died. And there were such good controls that it could be no other reason. And even if the people that were doing the thoughts weren't in the same room, they could be miles away, and it still affected them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Which is kind of crazy. It's like, how does that work?
Right. Well,
but it does. But I mean, even if you don't believe all that or whatever, if you're not at that place, it still changes you on the inside.
Yeah, well, just
to put those thoughts out there.
I mean, just as a basic, understanding of, when you feel good, you feel good, and when
Yeah.
you feel bad, you feel bad.
That's
Right?
true.
I mean,
Regardless
so
of why.
if you start from that perspective, that you know, you do good, you feel good. If you do bad, you feel bad. And how much more effective can your thinking of doing good for somebody else, you know, and thinking of their circumstance, you know, just like that, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, it, yeah, I mean, I guess you could delve into that so much more, but you know, particularly what I'm thinking is that there might be somebody out there who says, well, you know, I'm limited, you know, I only, you know, I can't go out. I mean, I have some limitations of movement or whatever, you know, and I can't get out there and help somebody. Well, you can always find a way to help somebody else in whatever situation.
Even it's listening. I mean, listening is such a gift. To listen to somebody, because people in our society now, in Western civilization, are lonely. They've done research on this, and people are lonelier than any other time in history, I think, because we don't have the same connection that we used to. I mean, if you think about it, you don't even have to grocery shop yourself, or if you do, you can get a checkout at a machine. You don't have to go to the bank and talk to the teller. You can go for weeks if you want to without talking to a single human being. You know, and people do. I mean, at their work, they're at cubicles, interacting with a machine. You know, everything's machine, and you know, and not human interaction. And we're social creatures.
Right.
We need human interaction, or at least, you know, a pet or something, you know, or something. But I mean, people are lonely, so you know, spending some time listening to somebody, you know, is a beautiful thing too, and it'll get you out of your own head, because you know, if it's messed up in here, get out of there and go do something to help somebody else, and that'll refocus you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's very true. That's a really good point. Yeah.
So I guess as all this relates to fitness, where,
it's an emotional fitness, right?
no,
Yeah.
there's something to be said about emotional fitness. I mean, it's definitely you know, all linked together. You know, your physiology, your nutrition, your mindset, all of that, you know,
Totally.
is impacted by the choices you make.
Yeah, it's all the choices, and you have a choice every second, really. People forget sometimes that they can choose constantly what they're allowing to think about. You know, you can always change your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy, but if you do it enough, it gets practice, it gets easier.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's
excellent.
Really good.
Yeah, good work. All right. Podcast number 15. Thank you so much.
All right, that's it.
Yeah.
We'll
super.
see you all next